Kesha, welcome and welcome back. We are on our next reading in the Aquarian, and I believe we're going to do 105, 106, and maybe 107. So let's just take a moment and center down, close our eyes. Obviously, I can't wait. Just take a deep breath in and let it out. Another deep breath in and out. Just feel yourself becoming more and more present in this time and space. Feeling more centered in your body. If you need to, go ahead and call all of your parts back to yourself. Call all of your power back to yourself. And know that what's returning to is cleanse as it moves through the ethers. And your deep breath cements it into place. When you feel yourself solid and strong, release any cares, any concerns. Just see them floating out of the top of your head, out into space. Leaving you a clear channel and vessel of universal love and wisdom and action. Gently see a column of white light coming down over you. As you breathe in this light, breathe in that knowing, that peace, that oneness, the fullness of universal love. And we can now begin to lift up higher and higher in that column. Lifting up out of our worldly existence and into this familiar space of peace, oneness, and all-knowing. When you feel at home at your place in our grove, gently open your eyes. Could be the best 2 minutes and 38 seconds of our week. But let us get started. So this is under the patronage of a number of wealthy women. The Christians make a grand missionary tour. In his teaching, Jesus lauds sincerity and rebukes hypocrisy. If you remember, that's one of the lessons from Heliopolis. Sincerity over hypocrisy. He speaks concerning the sin against the holy breath. The Christians go to Magdala. Jesus heals a man who is blind, dumb, and obsessed. He teaches the people. While he speaks, his mother, brothers, and Miriam come to him. He teaches a lesson on family relationship and introduces Miriam to the people, and she sings her songs of victory. And if we get to 107, a Pharisee demands of Jesus signs of his messiahship. Jesus rebukes him because he does not recognize the signs that are being continually given. Jesus exhorts the people to receive the light that they may become the light. So let us get into it. Now, many women who possessed much wealth and who abode in other towns of Galilee implored that Jesus and the 12, together with the masters from the foreign lands, would go thither and preach and heal. Among these anxious ones were Mary Magdalene, who was obsessed by 7 homeless spirits of the air, which had been driven out by the omnific word which Jesus spoke. Susanna, who owned vast estates at Caesarea Philippi. Joanna, the wife of Chuza, one of Herod's court. And Rachel, from the coast of Tyre. And others from beyond the Jordan and the Sea of Galilee. They provided ample means, and 3 times 7 men went forth. They preached the gospel of the Christ. They baptized the multitudes who made confession of their faith. They healed the sick and raised the dead. And Jesus wrought and taught from early morn until the day had gone, and then into the night he did not stop to eat. His friends became alarmed lest he should fail from loss of strength, and they laid hold of him and would by force have taken him away to a place of rest. But he rebuked them not. He said, "Have you not read that God will give his angels charge concerning me? that they would hold me fast and suffer not that I should come to want. I tell you, men, while I am giving out my strength unto these anxious, waiting throngs, I find myself at rest within the arms of God, whose blessed messengers bring down to me the bread of life. There is a tide just once in human life. These people now are willing to receive the truth. Their opportunity is now. Our opportunity is now. And if we do not teach them while we may, the tide will ebb. They may not care again to hear the truth. Then tell me, who will bear the guilt? And so he taught and healed. Among the multitudes were men of every shade of thought. They were divided in their views concerning everything that Jesus said. Some saw in him a god and would have worshipped him. Another saw in him a devil of the netherworld and would have cast him in a pit. And some were trying hard to lead a double life, like little lions on the ground that take upon themselves the color of the thing that they rest upon. These people without an anchor age of any sort are friends or foes as seem to serve them best. And Jesus said, no man can serve two masters at a time. No man can be a friend and foe at once. All men are rising up or sinking down, or building up or tearing down. If you are gathering not the precious grain, then you are throwing it away. He is a coward who would fain to be a friend or foe to please another man. You men, do not deceive yourselves in thought. Your hearts are known. Hypocrisy will blight a soul as surely as the breath of Beelzebub. An honest evil man is more esteemed by guardians of the soul than a dishonest pious man. If you would curse the Son of Man, just curse him out loud. A curse is poison to the inner man, and if you hold and swallow down a curse, it will never digest. Lo, it will poison every atom of your soul. And if you sin against the Son of Man, you may be pardoned, and your guilt be cleansed by acts of kindness and of love. But if you sin against the Holy Breath, by disregarding her when she would open up the doors of life for you, by closing up the windows of the soul when she would pour out the light of love into your hearts and cleanse them from the fires of God, your guilt shall not be blotted out in this, nor in the life to come. An opportunity has gone to come no more, and you must wait until the ages roll again. Then will the holy breath again breathe on your fires of life and fan them to a living flame. Then she will open up the doors again, and you may let her in to sup with you forevermore. And you may slight her once again, and then again. You men of Israel, your opportunity is now. Your tree of life is an elusive tree. It is a generous crop of leaves. Its boughs hang low with fruit. Behold, your words are leaves, your deeds the fruit. Behold, for men have plucked the apples from your tree of life and have found them full of bitterness, and worms have eaten to the core. Behold, the fig tree by the way, so full of leaves and worthless fruit. Then Jesus spoke a word that nature spirits know, and lo, the fig tree stood a mass of withered leaves. And then he spoke again, behold, for God will speak the word, and you will stand a withered fig tree in the setting sun. You men of Galilee, send forth and call the pruner in before it is too late, and let him prune away your worthless branches and elusive leaves, and let the sun shine in. The sun is life, and it can change your worthlessness to worth. Your tree of life is good, but you have nurtured it so long with dews of self and mists of carnal things that you have shut the sunshine out. I tell you, men, you must give account to God for every idle word you speak and every evil deed you do. Now Magdala is beside the sea, and here the teachers taught. A man obsessed and who was blind and dumb was brought, and Jesus spoke the word, and lo, the evil spirits went away. The man spoke out, his eyes were open, and he saw. This was the greatest work that men had seen the Master do, and they were all amazed. The Pharisees were there, and they were full of jealous rage. They sought a cause whereby they might condemn. They said, yes, it is true that Jesus does a multitude of mighty works, but men should know that he is in league with Beelzebub. He is a sorcerer, a black magician of the Simon Cyrus type. He works with James as well as Hambres did in Moses' day. For Satan, prince of evil spirits, in his stay by night and day, and in the name of Satan he casts the demons out, and in his name he heals the sick and raises up the dead. But Jesus knew their thoughts. He said to them, you men are masters, and you know the law. Whatever is arrayed against itself must fall. A house divided cannot stand. A kingdom warring with itself is brought to naught. If Satan casts the devil out, how can his kingdom stand? If I, by Beelzebub, cast devils out, by whom do you cast devils out? But if I, in the holy name of God, cast devils out, and make the lame to walk, the deaf to hear, the blind to see, the dumb to speak, has not God's kingdom come to you? The Pharisees were dumb. They answered not. As Jesus spoke, a messenger approached and said to him, "Your mother and your brothers wish to speak with you." And Jesus said, "Who is my mother and my brothers? Who are they?" And then he spoke a word aside to the foreign masters and the 12, and he said, "Behold, men recognize their fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers here in flesh. But when the veil is rent and men walk in the realms of soul, the tender lines of love that bind the groups of fleshly kin and families will fade away. Not that the love for anyone will be the less, but men will see in all the motherhood, the fatherhood, the sisterhood, the brotherhood of man. The family groups of earth will all be lost in universal love and fellowship divine." Then to the multitudes he said, "Whoever lives the life and does the will of God is child of God and is my brother, father, sister, friend." And then he went aside to speak to mother and his other kindred in the flesh. But he saw more than these, the maiden who once thrilled his very soul with love, a love beyond the love of all fleshly kin, who was the sorest tempter in the temple of Heliopolis beside the Nile, who sang for him the sacred songs, was there. The recognition was of kindred souls, and Jesus said, "Behold, for God has brought to us a power men cannot comprehend, a power of purity and love, to make more light the burdens of our hour, to be a balm for wounded souls, to win the multitude to better ways by sacred song and holy life. Behold, for Miriam, who stood beside the sea and sang the song of victory when Moses led the way, will sing again. And all the choirs of heaven will join and sing the glad refrain. Peace, peace on earth, goodwill to men." And Miriam stood before the waiting throngs and sang again the song of victory. And all the people said, "Amen." A Pharisee, elated with himself, stood forth among the multitudes and said to Jesus, "Sir, we would have you demonstrate, if you are truly Christ who is to come. Then you can surely do what black magicians cannot do. Lo, they can talk and hold the multitudes with words of power, and they can heal the sick and drive the demons out of those obsessed. They can control the storms, and fire and earth and air will hear and answer when they speak. Now, if you will ascend and from that tower fly across the sea, we will believe that you are sent from God." And Jesus said, "No black magician ever lived a holy life. You have a demonstration of the Christ life every day. But lo, you evil and adulterous scribes and Pharisees, you cannot see a spirit sign because your spirit eyes are full of carnal self. You seek a sign to please your curiosity. You walk the very lowest planes of carnal life and cry, 'Phenomena! Show us a sign and then we'll believe.' I was not sent to earth to buy up faith as men buy fish and fruit and rubbish in the streets. Men seem to think it quite a favor done to me when they confess their faith in me and in the Holy Christ. What does it matter unto me as man, if you believe or disbelieve? Faith is not something you can buy with coin. It is not something you can sell for gold. One smart, a beggar, followed me and cried, 'Give me a silver piece, and then I will believe in you.' And you are like this beggar man. You offer to exchange your faith for signs. But I will give you all the world one sign as surety that the Christ abides in me. You all have read the parable of Jonah and the fish, wherein it is recorded that the prophet spent 3 days and nights within the stomach of the mighty fish and then came forth. The Son of Man will spend 3 days and nights within the heart of earth and then come forth again. And men will see and know. Behold, the light may be so bright that men cannot see anything. The spirit light has shone so brightly over Galilee that you who hear me now are blind. You may have read the words of the prophet Azrael. He said, 'The light shall shine out brightly in the darkness of the night, and men shall comprehend it not.' That time has come. That light shines forth, and you see it not. The Queen of Sheba sat in darkest night, and still she yearned for light. She came to hear the words of wisdom from the lips of Solomon, and she believed. And she became a living torch, and when she reached her home, lo, all Arabia was filled with light. A greater far than Solomon is here. The Christ is here. The day star has risen, and you reject the light. And you remember Nineveh, the wicked city of Assyria, which God had marked to be destroyed by shock and flame unless the people turned and walked in ways of right. And Jonah raised his voice and said, in 40 days shall Nineveh be razed, and all her wealth shall be destroyed. The people heard, and they believed, and they performed and turned to ways of right. And lo, their city was not razed and was not destroyed. You men of Galilee, I tell you that Arabia and Nineveh will testify against you in the judgment day. Behold, for every one to whom I speak has in him all the fires of God, but they are lying dead. This will be bridled by the flesh desires, and it brings not the ethers of the fires to vibrate into light. Look, therefore, to your soul and note, is not the light within you dark as night? There is no breath but holy breath that ever a man can fan your fires of life into a living flame and make them light. And holy breath can raise the ethers of the fires to light in none but hearts of purity and love. Hear, then, you men of Galilee, make pure the heart, admit the holy breath, and then your bodies will be full of light. And like a city on the hill, your light will shine far, and thus your light may light the way for other men. I think sometimes we have this image in mind of Jesus being so kind, sweet, loving, and pure, and we forget that he has harsh words for those who will not see and for those who will not hear. So going back to the beginning of our reading, I think it's important to note that, and they made a point of saying that there were a number of wealthy women that supported the Christ, and he was supported by in interpretation, that's, he's supported by the divine feminine and intuition. But in the physical, he also has the support and the love, care, concern of wealthy women in these areas throughout which they travel. So they sponsor a mission of 21 people to go about healing. And of course, Jesus he's fed by the Spirit moving through him as he's healing these people. So of course he doesn't need, this human nourishment and bread and water and all of that. But, when we're so focused on, seeing with our flesh eyes, we think about, we have to stop and eat. We have to stop to sleep. But when you realize that, wait a minute, check in when you're being fed by Spirit, you are being fed by Spirit. So the activity that you do, that sharing is the nourishment. And so you find that you don't need necessarily to stop to eat or even to stop to sleep because you're not tired. You're not using your energy. You're allowing universal energy to flow through you. It's not unlike when you find yourself in the flow, like you're doing a project or something and you look up and it's like, where's the time? And it's been 2 days or whatever it's been. And you don't, when you're in the flow, you don't have an appetite. You don't have a reason to stop. You don't feel fatigued by the work. It enlivens you and you feel refreshed by it. And that's what he's experiencing and what they're seeing. What else did I want to point out? Yeah, he talks about, striking while the iron's hot. There is a tide just once in human life. When you have your opportunity, you need to seize it. You need to make the most of it. And we've talked about opportunity before, and he's highlighting that again. Of course, I absolutely love that. So I mentioned in the beginning that when we're 105, we're talking about the test in Heliopolis of sincerity over hypocrisy. And then we get another calling back to Heliopolis with Miriam's arrival. And it is that Miriam. And if you remember, he tells her then that, there will be a time when we will see each other again and we will love, but now is not our time because I have to go off and be this office and do this work. But he, in fact, does get to see her again. And there's a lightness in his heart for that. And, the people get to enjoy her songs of victory. I always think that's quite beautiful. Here is one. You seek a sign to please your curiosity. This is from chapter 107. You walk with the very lowest planes of carnal life and cry, phenomena, show us the sign and we will believe. That's so often the case. When we lack faith, we want to look for signs, like, instead of asking for what we need or want in faith and trusting that it's being provided to us, either in terms of following the guidance we're given or allowing things to unfold if we're not given explicit guidance, just stepping back and allowing things to happen. Before we engage and put ourselves and our matter into something, we want to see a sign from the universe. We want to see that it's all going to work out beforehand. But that is not the walk of faith. That is not trusting. And I don't even think, the Pharisees here, they're not trying to engage with Jesus to learn more and to be more in themselves. They just want to exercise control and power, right? Because if they can tell him to perform for him as if he was a simple court gesture, then they can show the people, oh, well, see, he's just like these other magicians and gestures that you've seen, so he's not real and to be believed. And Jesus calls him out pretty squarely for that. And you can hear the strident tone in his voice when he does. What does it matter unto me as if you believe or disbelieve? Like, he's already saved. Like, he's already believing. It doesn't matter. I mean, he welcomes those who follow him, but he's not trying to make everybody follow his thought. He tells them what's coming, right? He shows them the way, but these people still have freedom of choice. And it doesn't matter to him whether or not they accept it or not. He's only there for those who do believe and who demonstrate that faith. I think that's all that I really wanted to point out from this particular section. Yeah, faith isn't something you can buy with coin. It's not something you can sell for gold. I just like that. I like that. All right, good people. We will come back here likely on Sunday. This last Sunday, I was just a little out of sorts. What with all that is going on in the world and just not feeling like reading or being or just, doing this. But I'll try not to give in to those baser passions next week. So hopefully I'll see you Sunday. I'll love you in the meantime. That much is for sure. I'll see you. Bye.